So, all right, girl, we're going to get into it.
Okay.
For everyone who doesn't know, this is Isabella or Bella.
Hi.
I wanted to have you on because not only as a friend am I obsessed with you, but I think your story from beginning to now is so inspirational. And I think that more people need to hear about it because whenever I talk about it, I feel like I can't even cover everything. But I'm just going to jump right in and start from the beginning. Well, actually, let's kind of do it like Pulp Fiction style where we start at the end and then we'll start at the beginning. So, all right, Bella, today, what is your role as far as your career goes today?
Yeah, so my role currently, I work at Big Loud Records, and I'm the senior director of image. And it's kind of a role that has transformed over the past few years into something completely different than when I even started my role with Big Loud. Currently, I still do hair and makeup. I would say not as much as I used to. I'm definitely more on the preparation and planning side, coordinating, creative direction sometimes, brand helping with branding and connecting artists with brands and things like that. And so my role, it really doesn't fit one box anymore. I can't just say, oh, I do this. It's kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different creative things and networking things. And yeah, I feel like my job has become a lot of networking lately, but I love that. And it's been really fun.
That's really cool. Do you feel like being in LA, you've been able to network with brands a lot easier than being in Nashville?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I mean, you have like some of the biggest fashion houses and brands that are here and started here, and corporate offices, flagship stores, all of those things. It also helps with like having so many celebrities here. There's so much access to stuff and showrooms for fashion stuff. There's hair stores. I mean, there's a crazy extension store down the street from me. And I know there's been many times I've called you being like, I have a client. I don't know what to do. How can I get this?
We're like,
I've
girl,
like
it'll take
literally
17 days.
yeah, I mean, there was one time I literally flew to New York in the same day and came home to go to the Bellamy store in meatpacking and back. And so, yeah, like having these things 10 minutes down the road, I think it has elevated me and my career a lot already since being here, just with the connections I've been able to make.
That makes sense. And I'm sure it's also helping Big Loud as well because you're on the ground and able to make those connections for their artists too.
100%. I think too, just spreading awareness that, Big Loud in Nashville is such a big dog and it is everywhere, but having the awareness in these brands that maybe wouldn't be so country leaning, or it brings a different element to even their brand. So I think there's a lot of crossing that it's going to be really beneficial and has.
Yeah. And I feel like right now, not just like country music, but the whole Americana vibe is like so trendy everywhere.
Yeah.
Like even when I was in New York 2 weeks ago, I was like laughing at how many cowboy boots I saw everywhere. Nothing wrong with that.
Everywhere.
Everyone looked great. So if anything, it's cool that you're over there and can kind of tie those two elements together.
Totally. And I think it's like the perfect time because I think right now is like kind of the tip of all of that bleeding into, I don't even want to say mainstream because country is mainstream, but this other world of celebrity and influencer and maybe the normal person who wouldn't listen to country. It's like I was at a Los Angeles County Target the other day and there's a whole Western section and they're playing country music the entire time I was in there. I noticed. I was like, this is insane.
That is so insane.
I don't think 2 years ago that would have been a thing.
No, not at all.
Here,
I guess we can thank Beyonce and a couple other artists for making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know where you're at now. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to get into the very beginning, Bella. So when you were in high school and you decided, peace out, I'm going to be a makeup artist. Can you jump back to what led to that decision? What made you want to become a makeup artist? And how did that even happen?
Yeah, oh my God, I think it just all started when I was like really little. My sister we have a huge age gap. She's 18 years older than me. And so one way we really connected and bonded was, let me do your makeup. And she would always sit me down. I just, from that moment, was like, I like doing this. And something my dad always instilled in me since I was a little kid was do something that you love so nothing ever feels like work every day. And what can make someone more lazier capitalize off of that too. Like
Yep.
run with whatever idea that is too. Because people will feed into that and they'll buy it. And I just remember being young and coming across, I think it was a YouTube video, and it was this girl named Blair, and she was Juicy Star 07 on YouTube, and she was like the OG YouTube girl.
Love.
And she had a sister Elle, and I just grew up watching them, and she'd be putting on her mascara. And I just remember every time I would make like $5 from chores or something, I would save it up to go get like, you know, at the time, probably a $10 lipstick that felt like a $100 lipstick from Sephora. And my parents have always been extremely supportive. And so I thank them for that, because I think going into something that isn't as traditional as like the typical college path or things like that, the interests, because as far as I can remember, when my parents asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was a waitress when I was younger. I don't know. And then I was like, I want to be a makeup artist.
Love.
And it took a lot of understanding that it is a real career. And I think there was a lot of like flack for that in the beginning, not from my family, but from outside people, from family friends and family and things like that. So having a really good support system. But with that being said, my parents, I was the youngest growing up. And so it's not like they were like, done, get out of the house. But I think they were a little bit more free with the things I was able to do. And so I started flying to New York by myself at like 14 and 15 years old. And I lied to Mac. Sorry, Mac. I was not 18.
They would do it too. They would.
I was not 18. And I started going on these like trips with a bunch of like brands. And, you know, I worked a GUCCI show when I was 16. And then it was like, you know, there's like hierarchy backstage where it's like you're doing the look and then somebody's checking it off. And I just remember like one of those shows, I was the person like checking off looks. And I was like 16 or 17. And I was like, I can't even like drink.
Girl,
and like
that's
these models
crazy.
are older than me. Like it was insane.
That
and
is.
Just like having to almost like kind of lie a little bit. And I didn't love that. I hated not being able to like show up and kind of be authentically me, the 17-year-old I was. I always held myself more mature, but I was like, I want this career and this is what I want. And how do I get it? And I'm working with people twice my age. So I wasn't able to go do anything with them. I just learned through them. And I never went to school. I kept doing that. My parents kept allowing me to. And by the time I think I was 15, I was 15. And I was really struggling in high school with bullying and just I did not have a good middle school or high school experience, like at all. I do look back and think it like shaped me into the person I am today. And I'm grateful for it. But no, I was the outcast. I was like the weirdo girl, like shopping at Urban Outfitters before it was trendy and like, ew, how like she's wearing high-waisted pants. And it's like, if we all could flash forward 10, 20 years, it's like
you could take those off my cold dead body now.
Yeah. Like, you know, so, but I say back then, but then it was not really common and it was weird, right? I was like the theater kid who didn't do theater.
Yep.
And so I just kept growing in that and kind of not really caring what people thought, but I also wanted to protect myself. And I like begged my family. I was like, I will do everything I like to get out of school. I don't want to be in school. And I kind of positioned to my mom, what would it look like if I dropped out? Because I'm making, at the time, for somebody who's 15, 16 years old, a decent little chunk of cash, you know? And so I was like, this is sustainable. You see it's working. I'm only going to keep growing. I'm doing huge things already. I have a list of things, a work bucket list that I want to hit. But in order to get there, it's not going to be me sitting in a classroom, banging my head against a book. Like it is going to be me in the field doing it. And I need the support and the like courage. And my mom always told me like, you'll always have a place at home. We'll always have your back. But if that's what you want to do, we support you.
Love.
But over my dead body, you're not dropping out of school. You
Okay,
will be
Linda.
finishing high school. Yeah. She's like, you will be finishing high school is one thing.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I'm really grateful for because I look back and I think that's something I would have really regretted.
Totally.
And so have I used my diploma for anything? No,
Yeah.
whatever. But grateful I did it and say I have it. But from there, sorry, I got lost for a second.
ADHD. We were talking about mom. We were at the point where you were like, Mom, please let me drop out. And she was like, no, dog. Yeah. But like, also I support you. But like, you know, and then we were at that crossroads right there.
Okay. So when I had kind of presented it to her and she was like, absolutely not, you're not dropping out. I was already in tutoring for math. And I had an amazing private little tutor and she offered this like homeschool camp. I say camp because there was like 4 kids who did it and we were all different ages. And it was called the PACE program. It was through a Christian school and you literally go at your own pace. And it's meant for people who really excel and finish the program way quicker and graduate really early, as well as people with learning disabilities who can kind of go back without it affecting their like day-to-day life in school. And so per those books, you have to pay for them every time you enter a new semester, right? And so that also is kind of my mom's way of tracking my progress because she's like, oh, okay, checks due. We have to pay for the new set of books, whatever. And there came a time that she's like, there's no way that you finished all of those that quick. Like you finished a semester in like 3 weeks. And I'm like, I swear I did. Me and Miss Annette, I was like, me and Miss Annette finished them. We did tutoring after school. I'm going 4 days a week, whatever. And then I dropped to like 3 days a week and still doing all my work. And my mom kind of told me, she's like, I love you, but candidly, like we can't I thought we were going to divide this over 2 or 3 years and you're kind of doing all this so quick. We can't really afford that. Like, what are you doing? And my teacher and I kind of kept like a little, like not secret, but my teacher ordered my books for me so I could keep doing it without like, and it's not like my mom would have hawked up the money.
No, but
like,
she was saying like, slow down, sister.
Yeah. Yep. And I think it wasn't like, don't go anywhere. It was more like, what are you going to do with your life at 15? You can't drive. You have a diploma. Like, what are you going to do? And so looking back, I understand that now. But no, I graduated. I think it was like 6 or 7 days into being 16. And my dad was on a task force working for like 2 months in San Diego. And I called him one day. And I was like, hey, he's like, what? I'm like, because a few weeks before I'd burnt our family kitchen down. That's a whole other story.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, Jesus, what now? I was like, I graduated high school today. And he's like, what? And I like ordered a cap and gown off Amazon and surprised my parents with pictures from like JCPenney's. Yeah, I'll have to find those pictures somewhere. I was rocking incredible. A bob then too. Love. But yeah, my parents were always really supportive. And from there, my teacher, Miss Annette, was always really supportive too, which hadn't always been the past. And I think that's why I was so desperate to get out of the public school system. And honestly, any school system, I think it doesn't matter where you come from and like what privilege you do or don't have. It's more about the people you have around you. Because I don't know, I was instilled that teachers should be the people like wanting you to move on to the next thing and support you and want to see you grow. And I had this one teacher and I'll never forget her. And she humiliated me in front of my whole class. She was like, makeup is not a real career. Because I didn't want to take the SAT. I already knew, or ACT, I already knew I wasn't going to college. I had extreme test anxiety to the point I was like in this program that I'd get pulled out every time I'd take a test so I could sit alone, focus, not be distracted. And my results were drastic when I did that. I'd fail in class, but if I took it alone with the same material, same test, I would pass with flying colors.
So wild.
And so I already had that of like getting pulled out of my class every time I needed to take a test. And she's like, you're never going to be anything. You're just like reaming me in front of probably 20 kids at the time. And I was just like,
wow.
Okay, whatever. And I kind of took that and ended up with like a parent meeting and everything. Linda was not playing about that, but
love Linda.
Love her. But yeah, it just kind of stemmed from there and having the support of my new teacher being like, I'm encouraging you to do this. I want you to graduate early. You have to be responsible and make the right choices and don't grow up too quick. Like enjoy your childhood, enjoy these times and your teenage years. But I also wasn't like your typical teenager. Like
No.
the moment turned 15, got my permit, 16, got a job. Besides makeup and that kind of stuff, I was working at Plato's Closet was my first job. And then I worked at a Tex-Mex restaurant. Like I
Love
did
that.
other things, all in the name of supporting this career that at the time, these events seemed amazing, but they were coming once and twice a year. They weren't sustainable. So like I'm
Correct.
making a little chunk of money for 1 or 2 weeks of my life. That's not, I think at the time, I'm not even kidding. Looking back, I think it was like $2,500. But to a 14 or 15-year-old in like that time, it was like,
You're like, I'm
like
rich.
I'm rich. Like this
But it
is
is,
great. Like,
especially at that age. It's crazy.
yeah. And so, but I wanted more,
Yeah.
I wanted the best brushes. I wanted the best Zucca bag rolling
Mm-hmm.
case. Like I wanted the best stuff. And I wanted to build a brand for myself. And at the time, I don't think that I realized that. It was just taking these little steps. Um, and yeah, just kind of following in suit with that and having my parents to lean on as far as like supporting me, taking me to events, my mom coaching me off the floor when I'm having like a mental breakdown that I don't know how to do this,
Right.
or what the hell do you wear to something like XYZ? And like, yeah, like it comes from support. Honestly, I wouldn't really be where I'm
It's
at.
so true. I had the like literal same thing happen to me in high school with a teacher where she was like, "You're not going to go to college with these grades," and da, 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 in front of everybody. And I was like, "Girl, I'm not trying to go to college." Like,
Yeah,
you're
and that's
talking to the
okay.
wrong person.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you've got the wrong girl.
Yes.
Like, why don't you talk to Stephanie and Roby, who like
Yes.
is
Like,
trying to get into Harvard and like, yeah, I'm
correct. I
sorry.
was like, we do not care. We do not care. And I do think, like, since you've been in school, it seems like, and it's not for everybody in every town, but it definitely seems like a lot more people are pushing creative ways of growing up and having a career versus the
Mhm.
traditional get your high school diploma at 18 for your university to then go in 100 grand in debt. Like it just seems
Totally.
like it is harder in the way that we did it and that you did it because we have a lot more to prove in a way. And
Mhm.
it requires a lot of sacrifice and constant, like, is the money going to be the same month to month in the beginning? And
Yeah, and it's
then,
not.
and it's not for a long time. And thank God that we have the personalities and the support that we do, because you could have the personality and not the support and you wouldn't make it. And
A
that,
hundred
yeah.
percent.
But you also have to remember, even though you had the support, you wouldn't have made it without you. So don't forget that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when did you and I meet? Were you 16 or 17?
I remember the first time I met you vividly
I remember the why.
because, yeah, because guys, when I say I'm loyal, I am loyal. And when I moved from Florida to Nashville, I was like stalking Carly on Instagram before I even moved there. Like, finding your nail person, finding your new doctors, finding your new hair person, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
I find Carly and I'm like, this is my girl. I make an appointment with you. I'm so excited, all this stuff. I chicken out because I've been seeing this hair guy for 5 or 6 years. And I was like, I'm just going to go to him one last time, but it's not sustainable to keep flying back to Florida. Like, I'm just going to go one last time. This man messed up my hair so bad, like so bad. It was like green. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
And so I call Carly and I'm like,
Help.
hey, that blonde is now going to be a color correction. Can you help me? And will you see me? And then now you can't get rid of me. It's been 10 years.
I know. It's so wild that it's been that long, but I remember the first time doing your hair and you found me as a client, but I immediately knew I was like, this girl is more than a client. And I don't
Same.
blur those lines with pretty much anybody most of the time. But for you, I just knew I was like kindred spirit, badass, hard worker. And I just knew you were going places. And I just love seeing a girl thrive. And especially, I felt like, with the way that you went about your career, I felt very similar to you in the sense of it's hard. And I immediately was like, I cannot wait to watch where you grow. So we met. And at this point, you were doing makeup, and then you started obviously growing your makeup business in Nashville.
Mhm.
And at some point you also added lashes, I remember.
Yeah, I
every
did.
makeup artist I know, every single one of you. But like, why not? That was the time.
Oh God. Yeah. First off, thank you for your kind words. I feel
Oh,
the same. And it's like so exciting to see how far you have come too, and like
thanks,
the
friend.
family you've grown, and
It's
like
crazy.
all the education you've built too. Like you've built so much, and it's very inspiring. And
Thanks, friend.
you're still so young that it's like, God dang, I can't wait
Stop,
to
keep
watch us in like
going.
10 years, 20 years. Like
I
seriously,
know,
it's so
it's cool.
cool. Um, but
Yeah, let's talk about your makeup business.
oh yeah.
Prior to like getting into the music world, how did you move to a new city and build your makeup brand?
Yeah. So moving from Florida to Nashville, I was like, okay, what is this going to look like? I guess country music. That's like what's there. I didn't grow up around country. I'm not too familiar with like artists and stuff at that point. And I just started doing test shoots with models. Like I remember linking up, reaching out to photographers when I got to town, being like, hey, I'm a makeup artist. I just moved here. I'm trying to build out my book, because portfolio work at that time was still very crucial. Like Instagram wasn't as heavy. It was like still a book.
Yep.
And so I was just meeting with models, photographers, other creatives, just collaborating, honestly, like free, just trying to get my name out there. And from there, I just started building, hey, we actually have a gig that we can pay you $100, or hey, we have this. And somebody had given my number to like an agent, and her and I never signed a contract or anything, but she would throw me a bone here and there. And then, you get on set, it grows, and then they kind of weed the agent out, which kind of sucks for the agent. But then they're like, well, we're just going to come directly to you. But that's just how it is,
It
right?
is. Yep.
And I got asked to do male grooming, and I was like,
How?
what is that? Like, and my biggest thing was, I just do makeup. When I got into high fashion and doing some of these like castings for some of these models, they're like, will you do hair too? Right. And I'm like,
Sure.
no. I had to learn how to do hair as well, and
Mm-hmm.
not, processing or cutting or anything like that, but just dry styling or even a
Mm-hmm.
blowout. Like I had to learn that. And when I got to Nashville, it was very much like, I call it like a two-for town. If you don't do both, you're kind of SOL at the
So
time.
true.
It's definitely, I think, changed a lot now as the city's evolved, and,
Mm-hmm.
more work and production work comes into the city.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, it was literally, you had to do both or you were not getting booked.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to get strong in that. But then came this new aspect of, okay, well, I've just tackled hair. What the hell is male grooming? And I'm not even kidding you. I think I Googled it and
Yeah.
was like, okay, I could do that. I watched some like BTS videos, I think of like Rolling Stone at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rockers were like in glam doing this interview. And I was like watching what the girl, not even listening to the interview, just like, what is she doing? What products does she have? Like kind of noting. And from there, I mean, I guess you can say it with the sayings, fake it till you make it, but I've built a
Yes.
whole career on that. So
Yep.
I think it's faking it until you choose to learn it.
Yeah. It's
And
just trying and being like, okay, I'll change that a little bit the next time.
totally. And adapting. If you're
Mm-hmm.
easily moldable and it can adapt to things, then you can be strong in anything. I truly feel
Mm-hmm.
that. And male grooming very easily took over my life, to the point where I was, for a long time, not even touching females.
Yeah.
It was all males. And, it's skin prep. It's
Mm-hmm.
cleaning up the neckline sometimes. It's very simple work, but it's
Yeah.
very important.
Yep.
And at the beginning, I was like, this is the easiest paycheck ever, like, blah, blah, blah. And then I went through the whole, like, but this isn't creative. And then it comes to the point of like, oh, it is, it's what you
Mm-hmm.
make of it and
Yep.
what details you put into your client. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I did that for a while. And then candidly, like, I want a nice life. Like I wanted to be doing more. I wanted to be making more. I was doing okay, but it still wasn't, I had roommates. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to like be on my own. I want to do my own things,
Mm-hmm.
elevate in life. And so I was like, what can I do? And at the time I was getting my eyelashes done, and I knew how much I was spending on eyelashes.
Correct.
And so I quickly just did the math on my phone one day. I was like, all right, if I just paid this girl $120 for fill, I see her every 2.5, 3 weeks. And she told me she had 6 fills today, 6
Wow.
clients. Do the math on
Yeah,
that.
that's great. Also, like,
Yeah.
ow for her back.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I told my parents about it. I was like, I was working for my mom's at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't really going too well. I got fired 3 times. And rehired, but and to be clear, it was
whose lesson was that to learn? Not yours.
Not mine. You kept bringing me back. No, I was just like, so it was an office job, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, so it was just paying the bills, like,
Yep.
and giving me that flexibility to go to dinner with my friends, to get my nails done, like
Yep.
that kind of stuff. But honestly, I was so drained from doing that, and it was so unfulfilling that I was like, I will do anything. Yep. But what is something I try to remember and take those key points from like what my dad told me growing up, like what doesn't feel like work and what is going to make someone lazier that you can capitalize off of.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I'm getting my lashes done all the time. Okay, I Google Nashville Lash Academy, Nashville Lash class, whatever. I sign up. It was like $2,000 for this, like, I think it was like a few weeks, like program.
Mm-hmm.
You go get certified. You do a live model test at the end, whatever. The first 3 days, I did not want to finish that class. I was like, this is horrific. Who could sit and do this all day?
Yeah.
I don't care how much money is involved. I don't want to do it. And the stipulation was my mom loaned me the money to go do this class. And she's like, when you make it back from doing it, just pay me back when you can.
Yeah.
And I was like, God dang it. Like, I have to finish this. Like, I've already told, like, she's like, at least if you just finish it and you don't do anything with it,
yeah,
you can say you finished. And
totally.
I kind of, again, feel the same way about high school. So I finished. My mom ended up being my live model and I passed. Everything was great. I started just telling people, pay for my supply cost and I'll do your lashes for free to practice on you. Jordan Carlson.
Yes,
I love you, girl.
I just saw her. Like
I
2
will
weeks ago.
never forget her, and I'm just saying her by name.
That's how she found me, is because of this.
Well, and it's absolutely insane because I was underage at the time, riding on a joyride, which are these like golf cart things that used to take you around to different bars.
I remember those. Yes.
Yeah. And they would like do tours and stuff, I think now, but they used to be kind of like pre-Uber before.
That's how we'd get from Demumbrey into Broadway.
Yes. And it's like tipping, like it was like free basically, but you just tip. So I was riding by myself to go meet a friend out from her apartment. I'm riding and it was Jordan and her now husband sitting on the front. And they were like, and they were like, what do you do? And I was like, I just started this eyelash. I'm pretty sure I was like 2 sheets to the wind. Like I was like, oh, I just started this like eyelash business. Like, I do makeup. And she's like, that's cool. I work at, and I think she was at one of the, I'm not going to say where she worked, but she worked on Music Row at the time. And I was like, oh, okay. So you work in music. That's cool. Like whatever. And at the time, nothing's clicking with me to like network, whatever. Anyway, she calls me and she ends up being like a long-term client of mine for like years. And then
I did not know that's how you guys met. I'm dead. I love that.
She was my first paying client.
Oh my God.
And I think I will
Jordan.
never forget her because of that. Like, all my friends and people I did before that, it's kind of like, I don't even remember those people, but she was the first person to like, I think I did cash at the time or Venmo or whatever. She was the first person to like send me something. And I just remember like leaving her house. And I don't think she knew that. She definitely didn't know that.
We would never tell them that.
No. And just her response of like, I love it. This is such a great experience. Oh, I forgot the most important part. I decided I was going to be a mobile lash tech.
Yes, which is hard work, but also people like that because you were capitalizing on their laziness.
Totally.
Yeah.
They don't have to go anywhere. You're laying down. A lot of these people that I wanted to market my business to are in the industry, want privacy, comfort of their own home. I get it.
Yeah.
So from there, it kind of was just like word of mouth. Like all my clients, her, another one. It kept growing and building, and from people just sharing the word of like, oh my God. And I think your work also speaks for itself. Like, I don't know.
If you do good work, they're going to come back.
Yes. And like people always would, my favorite question, how'd you find me? And later on I'd get the Instagram or social media, or I Googled you and you're the first person that popped up. Like, cool. But especially during the beginning when it's like the most crucial, it was all word of mouth. Yeah. And finding ways to market yourself and network. And I was putting deals out. I was like, I have 2 more slots available for Monday. Girl, I had a full schedule open on Monday.
Yeah.
I just am like panicking because I'm like,
Yes.
oh my God, I'm not making any money
Yes.
Monday. Like, it's famine or feast. What do I do? From that, people are like, oh shoot,
She's
I
in
better
demand.
get in with her.
Mhm.
She's in demand. Now I am fully booked on Monday and the next week and the week after and the
Good.
week after. And it would just keep growing to the point that it was like not sustainable anymore,
Yeah.
which was like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Um,
You were
and
getting
I
burnt out.
got so burnt out, and I went through like a really difficult time in my life that Carly was there for, and went through a lot of just like trauma and heartbreak and things like that, and just exhaustion. And I think I lost the root of why I did lashes, and that was to be able to financially provide for my passion, which was makeup and male grooming and all of these things. And I soon was kind of presented with this opportunity. Been working freelance for the label for a little bit. And my previous boss, Amy Georgilas, I mean, I wouldn't have the position I am today, like at the label without her. Like, she totally brought me in. And
also such a small world too, just with my few interactions with her before that. That's
I know.
so wild.
I know.
And it's so impressive
crazy.
what she's built too.
I know. It's absolutely insane to like, I don't know. I think there's always that group of like OG Nashville people. And I think like all of us are in that kind of like whatever. I'll just claim it.
Yeah, we will.
But
we'll start that trend.
it is. And it's like, it's crazy to watch. Like, it is a 10-year town.
It is.
You know? It really is. People don't take that seriously, but whether you're trying to write music or do hair,
it's 10
give
years.
It 10 years. I promise you. Like, and maybe it's changing, you know, Nashville's growing and evolving, but 10 years ago to now, give it time.
Dude, that's so wild. So you were doing freelance work with Amy for Big Loud at this point.
Yeah.
And I remember that transition, and like you were going through a hard situation in life. And I think in the best way, that's what like rocked you into being like, I'm going to reposition this into my dream. And that was like God throwing a brick at you in the best way and being like, girl, get back to it. Because you were doing the other thing out of survival.
Pure survival. To the point I was taking, I mean, I tried hiring somebody that didn't really work. My books got fucked up. The clients weren't happy. It was just a mess. And it wasn't sustainable. I was putting so much miles on my car, my back, my strength. I was in the hospital twice for exhaustion. And I think like, that's not something I'm proud of. It's actually something I'm like kind of,
we have to actively prevent it now.
Ashamed of, but like, nothing is worth that, you know? And it did. It made me lose the actual point and purpose of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And this was supposed to be a tool. This wasn't supposed to be the end game. And I think it would be different if it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And something I want to say is like, and I don't want to get emotional about it, but I'm like, the time that I had doing lashes, the people that came into my life, and same, I was very clear of who is my friend and who is my client and what lines to blur, what not to blur. And I'm not even kidding you. I probably have about 10 women in my life from that period of my life that will probably be in my life forever. And some of the most transformative stories. And I've heard everything on that table, from somebody getting married, divorced, a miscarriage, a pregnancy, like absolutely everything. And I think, I miss the like artistic side of that. I started to be like, I'm a therapist at home. I don't want to be a therapist at work. Like, I need balance, you know, and I miss creativity. And Amy told me that there might be like an opportunity to come to the label full time. And it took some going back and forth and making sure that it made sense for everybody. And at the end of the day, it did. And it was a very scary experience for me to kind of not throw, I don't even want to say throw away, but put aside this like business. I mean, my business was booming. Like, it was crazy. But like, I will be the first one to say, like, money's nice, but it's not everything.
Correct.
And money doesn't buy happiness, it buys freedom. And I saw both sides of that. And like, I was not happy. I didn't even have time to go like do anything with the money you're making, or take a vacation, do anything nice for yourself. Go to therapy, like anything. And it's so important to never lose like who you are and trying to get to the last, or like the end thing. And I think honestly, if Amy hadn't kind of come back in my life and kind of offered me that, And I don't think if I would have found like, I don't know where I would be today.
Yeah.
I really don't. So I
Yeah.
thank them a lot too, and their support, because yeah, it just is a wild thing. And I remember the initial almost like breakthrough of being like, okay, well, I have to tell all my clients now. And I think it was like this easing out of it where I was like, I can't just say I'm not doing this anymore.
Correct.
A, I was addicted to the money. I'm going to be real.
Hell
And
yeah.
two, I was like, I still enjoy doing it and I need a hobby. And like, maybe I will find the passion I once had in this and it won't feel like this, like I'm just slaving over lashes all day and just da 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 da. And I did. I think it became like this thing that it was like a therapeutic release. I was extremely selective with the clients because then it became, hey, I can't be mobile anymore. You're going to have to come to me. And they came to my house.
Yep.
Like they went through my life changes.
Do you see
with
the
me.
thumbs up that just happened?
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay. Hi.
Okay, back to it. So Amy brings you to Big Loud, and you make the jump into, and I remember when you were doing this, into, I think one of the things that we as creative people are most scared of is losing autonomy. And you had that autonomy, but it was also consuming you you were profitable, which profitable is fine, but if you're not happy, then it's not worth it. Because you can be profitable.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. You can be profitable later on and you don't even realize the money will follow. So you go to Big Loud, and I think one of the scariest jumps for creative is to have a boss. And then suddenly you had not only just a boss, like a few, there's different levels of bosses there. Yeah. But what was so cool on the outside is to watch you like dive into, I mean, we'll call it corporate world in a way. Yeah. I bet that they aren't as corporate-y as like some situations, but comparatively speaking to where we came from.
Totally. I mean, being fluid on your own compared to like, having like somebody, I don't even want to say a box, but like, you know how much money you're making. You sign a contract saying how much money you're making. I have benefits.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Things like that I'm like, yeah,
that doesn't happen in our industry.
Really no, it's really different. Yeah.
And they were one of the first labels, tell me if I'm wrong, to have like a full-time like hair and makeup artist or two, like that's on. Like most of the time other labels are just freelancing it out, or their artist is like, this is my person, so I'm bringing them with me and you're paying them, whatever the situation is. But you guys, I mean, Amy basically created a situation where you guys were the people on salary to handle all the creative, not just hair and makeup. You guys are doing styling.
Wardrobe. Yeah. And in the beginning, I was not brought on for wardrobe. Like it's something I've always done and had like kind of in my back pocket, or like if I was, on a set and they're like, hey, we need help. And I wouldn't necessarily go do full pulls at that point, but I would help the model get all her stuff, put together everything. And like, I had the eye for it. I like know what I'm looking for. And there was another person doing kind of more of the styling, and she kind of did everything. And yeah, I mean, she created that initially, and that, I mean, I think even still to this day, we're like the only label that, has that. Every time it gets brought up or talked about, everyone's like, that's so cool. Like, what does this look like? And, Amy has since moved on to amazing things, and that she grew from that position, which is so incredible. And from there, my position has elevated. I now have someone who works under me, which is amazing. And I do have a lot to say in the styling aspect, and I have somebody who just focuses on wardrobe, but this role has been constantly evolving since I feel like she started it, since I have been in it, since, even since our other employee has come on, since other employees have left. Like it is constantly like changing, growing, but I think, yes, and growing. And I think again, it's not just like a box that we can make this one department. It's kind of ever flowing as the world and culture and, everything when it comes to the industry is changing. I had no idea what A&R even stand for. Like when I stood for when I started there, I knew nothing about the music industry, or music business industry, I guess, I didn't really even know a whole lot about country. I grew up on top 40 and like jam bands and like rock, you know, like I didn't grow up on that stuff. I have a new level of appreciation and love for it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always evolving, and so
Yeah,
will this role. I think if you and I were to talk in 5 years from now, we would be having, again, a completely different conversation.
totally.
Um, and hopefully it just keeps growing, But
Yeah.
again, I wasn't doing brand stuff a year and a half ago. I
Yeah.
wasn't doing styling 3 years ago. I've been in this role 4 years now, but
Mm-hmm.
when I started, I was just hair and makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was it. I
And you would
was
go
I
on the
was brought on
road
as a
or
stylist.
okay. And
Yeah.
you would travel and do like stuff in Nashville too for the
Yeah.
artist. Okay.
Yeah. And so kind of how that was laid out was like you're kind of no, I don't want to say on call. Like there
Mm-hmm.
is definitely like a rapport that you have to like stick to. Especially in that time. And I did. I liked the structure. I liked showing up somewhere every day. It felt
Mm-hmm.
different, but I was still able to like create and do stuff. And my job was like, okay, I'm not sitting behind a desk necessarily, but like my job, I have to go to Sephora and go pick up this shade for this new artist we have. And I'm going to create a diagram for them and a face chart so they can see and da da da. It's like my job kind of grew into what I made it. And
Yeah.
something I will take away from even like the little job I had when serving, and I hated my manager at the time when I was serving. Sorry, I'll put my hands down.
No, that's so funny though. I'm
It
like,
is. It's like
gotta,
so
it's
weird.
gotta be your. Are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my Mac
That's
and
so
iPad
funny.
do that. It's so funny.
It's so funny.
We're talking about your serving job and also, yeah,
My manager always told me if there's nothing to do, clean. Like there's always something to do. And for
yeah,
some reason, that was like ingrained in my head. As much as I hated that when
yep,
I was like 16 or 17,
yep.
she's kind of right. And I don't
Mhm.
think she meant it in this way, but I'm like, even though what may not necessarily seem like work to someone, like creating a Pinterest board, that's helping me a month from now
Yep.
or a week from now or whatever. And I think with my job, it's so easy. And this is where I get like a little like, I can think of something, but it is so hard for me to put in words exactly what I'm envisioning to somebody that I'm like, let's just have a visual reference. So
Yes.
it takes time to create that. You're not
Yep.
just doing that while they're in the chair. It's prep, it's planning, it's consulting, it's all these things.
Well, that's what
And
adds value. Like, I think sometimes people get so stuck on the job description, and you guys created the job description. And
mhm,
so, how do you deem your value to somebody who's not even in your industry that's paying you? It's to do all the things and more and make their lives easier. And
right.
that could involve folding clothes, that can involve
Yeah.
sweeping, that could involve something that's not written in your job description, but that's how you add value when you're looking for, any type of elevation or raise.
Add value, but also add experience. I
Yeah.
feel like new things come to you when you're open to, not having an ego and
Mhm.
not like doing something that feels like, oh, well, I shouldn't be doing this or I've done this project. It's like, you know, I feel like till the end of time, if you're an artist in any aspect, there'll always be something that you're like, why am I here? But then
Yeah.
there's also going to be those moments that you're like, why the hell am I in this room right now? I do not deserve to be here. This is crazy.
Yep.
Like, and I had one of those moments not too long ago too, and it's like all very exciting stuff. But yeah, it starts from somewhere and you have to like
100%.
grow with that and experience those things and get in the nitty gritty. If I just walked in doing what I do now and like whatever and didn't have that experience of like, yeah, sweeping up hair and doing those things, it's not necessarily grunt work, it's experience,
It
to be
is.
honest.
And also, how do you lead people if you don't understand what they're doing and how to lead them? And that's through
Yeah,
experience. And you are leading
totally.
people. So today, like, what is a day to day for you right now with your
Oh my
job?
God. Every day, honestly, is so different.
Yeah.
When I was in Nashville, I still have an office on Music Row, currently. So I still have that I can go back to when needed. And we kind of made that like the glam sanctuary or whatever. Um, I mean, God, every day is different. Like today, I'm doing this with you. I have two Zooms. I have one in-person meeting with a brand today to go over like some artist stuff. I have a return at UPS.
So fun.
Yeah, and then like next week I'll be jumping on a flight and be zip zap zopping everywhere and then home 3 days later.
Yeah.
And so every day is just so different. I could be at a festival yesterday and New Year's Eve taping tomorrow. Like
Hmm.
truly every day is so different. And I think that has made my job so amazing for me, because I think I do have such a creative brain, and sticking me inside this like crazy structured box I don't think would be great for me. Like I give all of the credit to people who sit in cubicles all day and are just focused doing their work, because I don't think that could ever be me.
Yeah.
And so being able to have the flexibility and not be in one place all the time, whether that be home or work or travel or whatever, I get to go do stuff, meet with people. I think that's like so important to me, is like building new relationships and keep evolving.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think corporate world just kind of freaks me out. It feels like stagnant. It's not, but to a creative, it sounds like the most it sounds like you're trapping me, to be honest,
Yeah.
And so I think having that flexibility of kind of being able to go and do what I want, where I want, meet with these brands, it's been really fun. And doing glam still, like I'm not done doing glam by any means, like, but it is nice to have focus on something. And I don't remember how old I was when I said it, but I remember telling my mom, I want to do makeup for a while, and I have this like makeup bucket list, but I want to be sitting in an office one day. And my mom's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, who are the people? And at the time I didn't know who these people were, but I was like, who's like naming the lipsticks? Who's like, who is creating or picking what model gets to model this campaign or what? Like, who are these people and how does that happen? Who are these people winning Oscars for makeup? How does that work? Like, I had all these questions of, what is outside the box? What could this be? What is it? And it's funny because as my career grows, I would have never looked at you 10 years ago and been like, I'm going to be in music or music business or any of these things.
True.
And I mean, I have an incredible partner who's very talented in music. So I have like a very clear understanding of music.
Yeah.
But also like having the business side that I've been able to learn, and I try to be as involved as everyone will let me, and everyone's so welcoming and so kind at our company that it's like, it makes it easy to feel invited to learn. Nobody's like, this is mine. It's like, oh, well, this is it. And I have questions. I'm like, well, what does publishing like really do? How does that, doesn't mean I'm going to be a publisher. I just want to have a good understanding, because I think for me at the end of the day, I'm like, while styling is so amazing and doing makeup is so amazing and all of these things, these jobs are crucial in our business, I think there can be something more to that. Like, and what is that? And so even now, currently figuring out, well, if I'm not in music business, but in like, writing songs or doing anything on that creative aspect, leave that to them. They've got it. And I'm not physically doing makeup. What is the one thing that is blurring those things together and bridging it? And I think it's like, it's culture, it's community,
connection,
it's branding, marketing, it's all of these things. And I don't feel like any business really in what we do for music has one person or one thing that just does all of those. And it's kind of like a weird hat to wear, because again, you're not marketing a project necessarily. You're marketing the person and the culture that they bring.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I don't know. I think there's a lot of evolution happening, but I also think there's so much like currently that is so exciting. And I'm excited to see where the business on like what we do in like 5 or 10 years. Cause I think
people care more. Think about like the perfect examples is like Zara Larsson and Sabrina Carpenter. The moment visually you could connect them to their brand and it's all cohesive, it just changed the game. And I think more than ever, especially in the music industry, visual is the most important part. Truly.
You have about 3 seconds to make an impression. It's scientifically proven that you have about 3 seconds to make a lasting impression on somebody. And when it's an artist, that's usually the first 3 seconds of a song, the first 3 seconds of looking at them, and their social media presence if you were to look them up.
Yeah.
And from doing that research and knowing and understanding that, I'm like, okay, you have this amount of time to hook somebody.
Yep.
So what is it? just like the songwriter is focusing on the hook of the song.
Yeah.
It's like, what is your hook? You have to be the hook. So what is that?
Like
And
visually.
yes. And what is your brand? And I think consistency and all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
they matter like a lot. And somebody has to feel, I don't know. I think there's this whole wave and evolution with artists that is like this relatable factor.
Yeah.
And while I so much love that and lean into that with a lot of our artists, I feel like, well, but you're paying to see them and there is a star quality about them. And we can't forget that.
Yes.
And
like I cannot look like Chappell Roan every day or Lady Gaga.
No.
And I don't expect to, but I love seeing them.
Yes. And there's something inspiring about that. There's something artistic about that. And again, I don't think it has to be this crazy branded, loud luxury thing. I just think it needs to be, Chappell with the makeup and the wigs and all this, her wardrobe. It's just great music too. So you have that. And then the Zara Larsson, it's like, okay, well, the proof is in the pudding. Zara Larsson she's been one of the top songwriters and hit makers like
for a long time. For the
past decade.
Yep.
Okay. She's not getting culturally, excuse me, but like really relevant, I would say, to the masses until recently.
Yep.
Well, what has been the biggest change? Her hair, her makeup, her image. The music's also incredible.
Yeah. But the songs that are famous are like a couple years old.
Correct. And they're just now getting the attention they deserve. There's a lot that could be behind that. I don't know about her too much specifically. That could be teams. It could be, I get it. There's a lot of moving parts, right? PR. But when you lock in your brand, now when I'm scrolling on TikTok and there's something marketable where it's like, oh, this girl's doing midnight sun makeup and she's doing this and that. Okay.
Yeah, like I could do like the eye makeup and for Halloween people would know, oh, Zara Larsson.
Immediately.
You know?
You wear that and your little like belly chain, keychain thing that she does.
Yep.
And a little croppy, like cute
it's like,
shirt,
that's Zara.
halter top. I would know that with a blonde wig, long hair immediately.
I think you guys are doing such a good job, like from what I'm seeing with your artists. And you guys have so many different types of artists in your brand.
Yeah.
You guys have rap, you've got rock, you've got country, you've got Americana, you've got it all.
I feel like it's been fun because even before I worked at the label, I was working with like a lot of older rockers.
Yeah.
Like Tony Iommi from like Black Sabbath and, Dave Mustaine from Metallica. Like those are my boys. Like they were so fun to work with. And they definitely kind of put in a perspective like, all right, well, I kind of took notes from them. I'm like, I'm not creating anything here, right? Like I'm just touching up something that's already established.
You're making them look okay. Yeah.
Right. But what I can take from that is clearly something that they have done with their image, their sound, everything has worked for them.
Yeah.
So what is it that, again, I'm not going to be this new age just coming and changing everything. Right. What can I do to like keep that, enhance that, but take that with me into my new projects and the new artists I'm working with.
Perfect.
And so now I'm working with a lot of, smaller rock artists who are breaking and it's been so fun. We have the rock label here in LA too. So we are focused completely on rock out here, which has been really fun. And it's been really cool because the branding's different. You have 5 of them compared to 1 of them.
Right.
Rather than country, right? Or like a duo, 2 of them. Like it's usually like 4 to 6 people depending on the band or the group. So it's been a lot of fun and it's kind of pushed me outside my box to make those other connections because I think you get so comfortable in like one lane. And I don't know, I think even I'll never, how do I word this? It doesn't matter the size of the artist or the band, it's what you can do with them.
Yep.
And I think that it doesn't matter necessarily how many streams or stuff you're getting. If you have a great team behind you, that stuff will like follow naturally.
Yeah.
And I think the great start of that is locking in your visual presence.
Yes.
And when it comes to your first album cover, your first, Instagram post as a band, your first solo post on your own personal feed, but you're in a band. Like, what are all of these things saying? And again, I'm not a social media expert, But the things I look for in those posts are, well, what are they wearing? Ooh, this hair's messed up. This looks crazy, or this is intentional.
Yeah. Is it intentionally
And
messy or whatever?
exactly. And so it's been really fun to kind of create the blueprint and digital blueprint of like what this is going to be for these new emerging bands and acts and stuff.
Yeah.
And we have amazing people and it's been really fun. But I also feel like that kind of, you know, makes you question like, all right, well, what are these older guys going to do? Like they're still this damn thing. Oh my God.
I love it.
Whatever.
We're talking about the old guys.
Yeah. The old guys, they'll figure it out.
They don't need attention. They don't need it though. They're good. We're going to get close to the close right now, but I want to ask you, like, with your current job today and you're the senior director, say that one more time.
Yes, senior director of image.
Image. I almost said visual, but like image makes more sense. So with your current job, what is your favorite part of it right now? I know that's going to change, but today.
Yeah, totally. I think my answer will always be consistent. And my favorite part is about making people feel comfortable with who they are and just translating how they feel on the inside, on the outside.
Yeah.
And something I always tell my artists is my goal is to never change you. It's just to make you the best, most confident version of yourself. Yeah. Because I don't support changing, like
they're tweaking, there for a reason.
Sure, but yes, and like there are quirks and things and whatever. People are meant to be eclectic. We're not all this like carbon cutout of one another that I feel like society is trying to form us into.
Yep.
And artists should look different. Artists should be different. And I think especially clothing and hair and makeup is such a form of self-expression that me trying to change somebody would be me sitting in the writing room as well, being like, I don't like that line. I don't know. It's like,
it's true.
What? You know, so like know your place, I think, as well. And just be their biggest cheerleader. And I think the best part of my job is getting to be a cheerleader and be there on their biggest days and their best moments and watch all of these amazing things continue to happen to each and every one of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are hard days too, but I think the good outweighs the bad always. And yeah, just making people feel their best selves. I mean, that's exactly why I do what I do as a whole.
Yeah.
Is makeup was my outlet when I was getting bullied and picked on and not really accepted into
society,
the age and society at that age of being more mature, knowing who you are at that age and things are thinking you do. And it just, makeup was my outlet. And so it made me feel good. If it's something that's crucial in entertainment, why not be a good vibe and be good at what you're doing?
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than being on set with someone all day who's just miserable.
Exactly.
You know? So
from makeup artist as a teenager to senior director of image at Big Loud Records, if you had one piece of advice for somebody wanting to get into whether it's makeup, hair, or something like you do in the entertainment industry, if you could give like one piece of advice, what would it be?
Network. Network. And I'm still teaching myself this, like go to the dinner, go to the brand event, go to someone's party, go. Don't put yourself in any uncomfortable situations, but make yourself visible. I think being visible is the best thing. I think there's something as being too visible as well, but I think being visible and networking and having integrity in what you're doing and knowing that you're doing it for you and nobody else, that's kind of the only piece of advice. I think like talent is talent. You either have it or not, or you can learn it. So hopefully people are self-aware enough to know what they, need to work on or not work on. But I think having awareness around yourself, everything is word of mouth. And I truly mean that. Like,
it's true.
Every opportunity that I have ever gotten or had has come from word of mouth, even down to when I was 15, 16 years old. My mom's, best friend, who I called my uncle, it was his cousin who helped cast me and stuff. Like literally it was all word of mouth, even from that point. Yeah. So while social media and building numbers and fan bases and all these things are so important for yourself, I think it's also still important to remember not everybody is a makeup artist. Not everybody is a hair artist. Just because you post about it doesn't mean you are one.
It's true.
And so having integrity in what you're doing and building out professionalism over reaction and response over reaction, that's my biggest piece of advice.
Yes.
Because anybody can do what you're doing, but only you can do it as good as you are.
Write that in a book. Study that shit, people. Isabella Rosalen, it's been so amazing hearing your story. I am so beyond proud of you. You are the example that I use for this, like for being able to create a career from teenage to now. But also you're my example, and I've already told you this, but you're my example of that word of mouth referral power, because I told you this last year. I used you for a business class I was teaching, and I made Bella, I should have had this for this, but I'll post it on Instagram. And I made a family tree of everyone you've referred me. And I don't even know if I captured all of them, but because you referred, say Jordan, she's on there. Yeah. You referred Jordan, she then referred. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 3 to 4. And it's just you and having, there's more than 5, but if there's 5 referrals you gave me, then those are giving me 2 to 5. It keeps going. Yes. And that is the power of networking and referrals. And you are my example of that. But I want to thank you for taking the time to come on Hair Talk Coffee Club and share your story.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, you're so inspirational. I'm so beyond proud of you.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm so honored that you asked me to be a part of this, and I'm so excited to see what you do with this.
Thanks.
And
I'm just letting the ball roll. I don't even know.
I know. I love it. But it's been such a fun thing to watch too. And I think it's important to have, again, other creative outlets and things, and getting yourself out there. It's just so important. And I don't know. Love to talk. So I appreciate you having me.
Well, I love you, girl.
I hope you can forgive me for not topping my hair.
I do forgive you. So that was Isabella Rosalen. And if you want to follow her on social media, her handle is the Issa Rosa. But that was such an inspirational episode on how you can really just focus and lock in and make something really huge out of your career, whether you go to college or not.